Chapter 43. Anxiety for the Blind King. Dhritarashtra sat alone in his chambers. Sanjaya had been gone for days and was due back at any time. The king wondered how the Pandavas would receive his message. Surely the gentle Yudhishthira would not opt for war. How could Yudhishthira condone killing his beloved elders? But Yudhishthira would certainly act on Krishna's advice. So Krishna was the unknown element, and neither could Dhritarashtra fathom Krishna's motivations or intentions. Sometimes Krishna seemed impartial, or at least Krishna said he was, and yet he always appeared to favor the Pandavas. And then again, Krishna had given away his army to Duryodhana, and Krishna had promised not to fight. Indeed, it was difficult to understand Krishna. And as Dhritarashtra sat thinking, a messenger entered his room, informing him that Sanjaya had returned. The king asked that Sanjaya be shown in at once. Sanjaya entered the chamber with clasped hands and stood before Dhritarashtra. "O Lord of the earth, here I am, Sanjaya, returned from seeing the Pandavas. Yudhishthira sends his greetings and asks about your health and that of your sons and grandsons." "Blessings to you, O Sanjaya. Welcome back. Tell me how Yudhishthira, who creates no enemies, is faring. Are he and his brothers well?" "All is well with the Pandavas. Yudhishthira desires to have what was formerly his. In his opinion, virtue is superior to acquiring wealth, and is the essence of both happiness and joy. That godly man, motivated only by virtue, wishes to once again protect the people in accord with the eternal duties the Creator has assigned to him. Surely all men are but puppets led by the will of God. For otherwise, how could the Pandavas have suffered so much? I think that as long as a powerful man does not have the opportunity to rectify things, his antagonists will prosper. O king, your actions have been indescribably sinful, and soon you will receive their results. Yudhishthira, having cast away sin just as a snake gives up its own skin, is now resplendent among other heroes." Sanjaya's long and intimate relationship with Dhritarashtra allowed him to speak frankly. The king winced as his secretary continued. "O king, reflect carefully on your course, because your motives are suicidal. You have acted dishonorably toward the Pandavas, and you have achieved neither virtue nor wealth. Vicious and cruel, your deeds have earned you only shame and censure among men. We can understand such actions from low-class men with poor education, but you are born in the line of Bharata and have been advised by many wise ministers. And you too are wise, and you know the difference between right and wrong. So why then do you act to bring about the destruction of your entire race?" Dhritarashtra pressed his forefinger and thumb into his eyes. He felt unbearably hot, although he was being fanned on both sides by young maidens with chamara whisks. He unbuttoned his tunic and called for a cup of cool water. But Sanjaya would not relent, for he could not bear to see his master bring about his own ruin. The time for diplomacy was now past. Disaster was imminent. So if there was any hope of averting the war, the king needed to keep hearing the truth and actually do something soon. O king, surely the Pandavas are aided by divine forces. Otherwise, how could Arjuna have gone to heaven in his mortal body? It is God alone who awards men the results of their deeds. Our exertions are useless if we fail to recognize this truth. Striving only for our own gratification, we gain nothing but misery. O king, I blame you for the present situation, for you have acted without regard for God's laws. And if you do not reverse your decisions, you will be responsible for the annihilation of innumerable men. Surely Arjuna will destroy the Kurus, just as fire destroys a heap of dry grass. Influenced by your headstrong son, you think your success is assured. Thus, you did not prevent the dice game. Now, look at the result of such madness. O king, because you are weak, you will not be able to retain sovereignty over this broad realm any more than a fool can retain wealth suddenly gained. It was late, and Sanjaya was tired from his long journey. He asked Dhritarashtra's permission to take rest, and he said he would return in the morning to deliver Yudhishthir's message to the assembly. The king dismissed his servant with kind words. He knew that Sanjaya had only his interests at heart, no matter how cutting his words. After Sanjaya left, Dhritarashtra sat alone, his mind racked by painful thoughts. Everything now depended upon him. Surely it would be just to return Indraprastha to Yudhishthir. But Duryodhana would never agree. Would he be able to check his son? It had been almost 20 years since Dhritarashtra had assumed the throne. Now he was lord of the earth, that is, he and his son Duryodhana, his empowered representative. And to give Yudhishthir his kingdom would end all of that. The self-effulgent Pandavas would soon re-establish their supremacy over their cousins. Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana would be eclipsed. The king felt his limbs trembling. Having had such power, it would be worse than death to have it taken away. Sambhavitasya cha pakirti maranat atirichyati. For one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. Although it was late, Dhritarashtra felt he needed to hear from Vidura, for no one could offer him impartial, thoughtful advice like his youngest brother. The king asked that Vidura be summoned, and within a short time he entered the chamber. O you of great wisdom, here I am, Vidura, at your command. Order me. What can I do for you? I am your servant. The king welcomed Vidura warmly and had him sit by his side. But he spoke in somber tones. "Oh, my dear brother, I have just spoken with Sanjay, and he has strongly criticized me. As yet, he has not told me what Yudhishthir has said, so now I am anxious. My body is burning. I cannot sleep. Tell me how to cure my condition." Having been called from his prayers and meditation, Vidura replied to his elder brother, "Sleeplessness overpowers one who has been attacked by a stronger man, or by a weak man, or those who have failed to attain their goals, those who have been robbed, those consumed by desire, as well as thieves. So I do hope that you do not fall into any of these categories, O king, nor that you are greedy for someone else's wealth." Vidura knew well the king's dilemma. He had discussed it with him on countless occasions, always offering him the same advice. But Dhritarashtra always ignored it. Vidura had repeatedly warned him of the eventual outcome of his actions, an outcome which was now imminent. Obviously, Dhritarashtra was finally realizing everything. The king then turned his head toward Vidura and said, "Dear brother, speak to me wisdom. Speak those words which are at once morally uplifting and also calculated to secure my welfare." Despite Dhritarashtra's foolishness, Vidura's affection for his brother never waned. Patiently he advised Dhritarashtra for his own good, praying that one day the blind king would come to his senses. Perhaps now, with the approach of calamity, Dhritarashtra would become more thoughtful. Yudhishthir is a king graced with all the auspicious marks. He is quite fit to rule the world. You should have kept him near you, but instead you exiled him. For this blindness you are to be condemned, O king, although you know what virtue is. And because he is inoffensive, kind, forgiving, and a lover of truth, Yudhishthir remembers your supremacy and patiently bears the hardships you have inflicted upon him. Having bestowed lordship of the world upon Duryodhana, who bears enmity toward Yudhishthir, how can you now expect peace and prosperity? Vidura had himself received many instructions from rishis and sages, and he sought their association whenever it was available. Now recalling the words of wisdom of the saints, he became more gentle with Dhritarashtra as he continued to instruct him, and the king listened attentively. One is said to be a wise man who cannot be deviated from his duties by anger, exultation, pride, lust, or ignorance. And a wise man is one who remains fixed on the highest goals of life. Attachment to the saintly, renouncing the association of blameworthy men, and maintaining faith and reverence towards elders are also signs of a wise man. A wise man acts in accordance with religion, pursuing a course which benefits him in both this life and the next, rather than one that offers only immediate pleasure. And wise men do not lament for that which is lost, and nor do they hanker for that which is unattainable. They rejoice in virtuous deeds, and they completely shun sin. The wise understand that this world is temporary and miserable. They recognize God's supremacy and their own position as God's servants. All of their acts are aimed at pleasing God and achieving His eternal abode. On the other hand, a fool is proud, even though ignorant, vain, and poor. Fools try to achieve prosperity through sin and hanker after others' property. Resorting to deceit and violence, the fool thinks nothing of hurting others to achieve his nefarious ends. The fool forsakes that which should be obtained and desires that which should be not desired. The fool is faithless, makes no offerings to the ancestors, and worships only himself. Arrogant, angry, and harsh of speech, the fool lacks discrimination and befriends those who should be foes while hating those actually worthy of friendship. Failing in one's endeavors, the fool blames others and punishes the innocent. Such men are ultimately destroyed to their roots. Well into the night, Vidura instructed Dhritarashtra. He tried his best to turn the old king's mind toward virtue and truth. But he had nothing new to say to Dhritarashtra. The Kuru monarch had often heard such teachings. He would agree with everything and even enjoyed hearing it. And as Vidura spoke, the king recognized his own foolishness and sinfulness and freely admitted. He prompted Vidura to speak more and more, asking question after question. The night ended with Vidura pointing out the certain results that would ensue if the king did not act fairly toward the Pandavas. Yet Dhritarashtra knew he could not find the strength to act upon Vidura's wisdom. Dhritarashtra only knew that even though he wanted to act properly, he would not have the proper willpower to cross Duryodhana. And he knew that when he would sit among the kings in the assembly the next morning, Dhritarashtra would be unable to yield to Yudhishthir's request. Trinadapi Sunichena Tarar Iva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kivalam Kalau Nastyeva 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 Gatir Anyapa Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namaste Narasimhaya Praklada Aklada Dayani Hiranya Kashipo Vaksha Shilatanka Nakalayi Ito Narsingha Parato Narsingho Yato Yato Yamitato Narsingha Bahir Narsingho Hridayi Narsingho Narsingham Ading Sharanam Prapadyi Namaste Narasinghaya Narsingham Ading Sharanam Prapadyi Narasingham Ading Sharanam Prapadyi Tabakara Kamala Barai Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare